Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Naturally Mar. Today we're going to be reviewing Real Housewives of Potomac. Yes, season 6, episode 2. Now before we start, please ensure to like the video either on your way in or on your way out. Also hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so you get instant alerts when a new video drops. So the scene starts back at Wendy's place at the dinner after Karen made her Sing Sing comments to Giselle. And everybody's trying to figure out, what is Sing Sing? What is it, Karen? I feel that Karen was trying to embarrass Giselle about her a mental breakdown. So allegedly, the streets are saying that during her relationship or marriage with Jamal, when there was all these cheating scandals in the relationship, Giselle had a mental breakdown and actually had to go into an institution for that. I don't think it should be anybody's. I would say it was a low blow for Karen in terms of taking it there. I know Giselle was coming for you, but to make fun of anybody's mental breakdown is never a good look. Karen is sticking to her claims that Giselle wished death on her husband. Now, when they pan back to the conversation, it was like about 4 years ago, and Giselle and Ray were having a conversation, and I believe that Ray wasn't coming from a bad place in this at all, and he was just letting her know that um, that Giselle should find someone to settle down with, basically, because her beauty is not something that she's going to be able to rely on forever. It's going to fade, right? And in her confessional, Giselle was just like, well, that Ray would be 6 foot under before her beauty ever fades. I don't think she was really trying to wish death on Ray, but this is what Karen is sticking to. Like all the other things Giselle has done, and you're trying to use this as your reason to be mad. Still mad with Giselle. Okay, Karen. Now, Mia tries to interject in the argument and says, hold on, Karen. I believe that I'm a good judge of character and that Giselle has a good heart. Okay, Mia, you'll find out sooner or later about Giselle's heart. And Ashley and Wendy were shocked that Mia, who came to the group via Karen, is sticking up for Giselle and not her friend, Karen. And you would think that she would defend her friend first. However, we all know that these ladies aren't friends really in real life. She has come through the show via Karen because that's how they decided to portray it, that she's one of Karen's friends. But we know that doesn't necessarily how that's not necessarily how it works on reality TV. Karen even says, she was smitten too when she first met um, Giselle, but Mia will learn after 5 minutes. Karen claims that, the reason why she never brought it up then is, her children were young. And of course, Bravo runs back the tape. And her children were 27 and 19. So they weren't young children. Karen was really responding to Robin because Robin had made the comment, chiming in, trying to defend Giselle, asking her why she didn't, deal with that those years ago. And basically, Karen says, what you guys are not going to do is attack me. And Wendy sticks up for Karen and says that they should all leave this to let Giselle and Karen handle this between themselves. And of course, Robin says in her confessional that Wendy She doesn't understand why Wendy is taking up for Karen, since Karen last year was acting like she didn't even know who Wendy was. Now, of course, this evening wouldn't have been completed without Karen also shading Robin. She does a little side talk to Robin to slightly address her and just says, "Oh, Robin, when is your wedding? Because, you know, my wedding is going to be soon. When is your wedding going to be?" And Robin was like, "After COVID." Girl, what's after COVID? So you're never getting married? Okay, Robin. Um, you know, Karen was just like, my wedding is going to be in a room full of people that she loves, um, everyone will come together in a real wedding and in a real relationship. And Giselle was just like, so what are you trying to say? That Robin's relationship isn't real? Now, Ashley tries her best into, bringing some positivity to the situation. And she just says, if Karen and I can get into a better place, then it's possible for anybody to get there, right? And Wendy tries to bring back the convo to her body. And she basically gets up and says, do you guys like what you see basically? And she, does a little turn and shows them, so everybody's like, "Oh, so you got your booty done?" And she's like, "Yes." So now she's um claiming that or acknowledging that yes, she got more work done to her body and to her booty, not just her breast. And Mia thought that was interesting. She feels that what Wendy was insecure to acknowledge that she had gotten further work done in terms of um, the BBL, and basically waited for Mia to pipe up about her surgeries before she felt comfortable enough to let everybody know what she got done. And then they eat her breast cupcakes. Now we go to Mia, um, a little bit of Mia's life, and we see her at her penthouse, which looks really nice. Um, and we meet her kids, and you know, during this scene, Mia got a business call while she was trying to make cupcakes with her young daughter. And she's saying that, she's still trying to balance being a mom, being a boss, and also being a wife. It's a little bit challenging. Gordon, I guess, used to be the CEO of their chiropractic company, and he's decided to retire and let his wife, Mia, control everything. Now, her husband feels that she needs to focus on one. Sorry. So her husband feels that she needs to focus on one task at a time and didn't really appreciate the fact that she was having a meeting as well as um, doing things with their daughter. And, she was just like, well, why can't she? Like, why can't people see that she's being a mom as well as a boss at the same time? Granted, you might want to focus a little bit, um, or being able to multitask a little bit better. I mean, the daughter has a little bit of a tantrum because she didn't have, there were no sprinkles to put on the cupcakes. And when she ran off, Mia should actually have let her husband handle the situation, and continue with her meeting call. But she chose to go and handle it, told her husband that she'll handle it. Now, Candace is working on her acting roles, and she's trying to take acting or she wants to be taken as a serious actor. And Chris is now her manager, and he claims that his style is asshole. Like, why would you think that your wife is going to respond well to that? Look how she responds to her mother. Anyhow, I don't believe that Chris being her manager is going to work out well for Candace. I think Candace needs to actually find different management before it ruins her marriage. Karen was talking to Ray about her conversation with Giselle and thinks that she was a little bit too hard and harsh with Giselle in her comments. She wasn't very proud of how that conversation went. Um, she understands that, Giselle is just hurting because of her situation with Jamal. Really, she should be dragging, Giselle should be dragging Jamal instead of trying to comfort Karen. But we know that that's not going to happen. Uh, Giselle is also going to comfort Karen because Monique's not there for Giselle to attack. And she decides that she wants to throw a party for the ladies, a love party, for all the couples, for the ladies and their spouses to come along. She knows that Giselle isn't in a relationship right now, but she still invited Giselle to come as well. Now, Wendy and her family, that dinner, the food looked good. I would love to try their cooking. The food actually looked really good. And they claim that the way they cook is too spicy for her regular friends. So it's just, hey, Wendy, I'll try it. I like spicy food. It looked good, I must say. We learn that her mom actually wants to get a boob job herself, and she expects her children to pay for it, or else she's going to sue them. So she said that her children has until December to get her the money to pay for her boob job. Wendy tells them about her new business venture, how she wants to open up her own essentials line, and she shows them the candle that she's come up with, the packaging and how it looks. Her mom seems okay with it. Eddie's face, though, didn't seem too pleased. I guess he doesn't think that Wendy is serious about this business, so we'll see. She claims that she needs at least $20,000 more to get this project going. Karen visits Ashley, and as Ashley answers the door, she was talking to, I guess, a nurse or something, talking about taking her or getting her placenta made into pills for her to take. And it's something for her to kind of battle postpartum because we know that she did suffer with that from her last pregnancy. So hopefully that can work for her. Karen seemed kind of grossed out about it, but I've heard about it before that people taking their own placenta and it's supposed to also boost your energy as well. Karen came by to drop off her invite for her love lunch. And as she is doing that, baby Dean is crying, wakes up crying in the background. And when Ashley goes to get baby Dean, when he sees Karen, he starts bawling again. And Karen just hightails it out there. She runs um, from baby Dean. And before she runs out, before she runs out, her and Ashley were having a conversation about the Sing Sing comment because Ashley was like, well, where did that come from? And Karen was just like, oh, I thought it rhymed well. She didn't know it was a jail. Giselle and her daughters are always refreshing to see because they always gather her, always bring her back to reality. So she's trying to tell them about the type of relationships she would like them to have. She doesn't want them to be with any rappers, drug dealers, athletes. She tries to explain a situation where she was dating an athlete and then he got injured and then she had to deal with all of his depression, the ups and downs because he got injured. And her girls were like, well, mom, that's the point of being in a relationship, being there for somebody. And that she doesn't do well with with emotions. Like she's not good in relationships and she doesn't choose the right men. And Grace better basically let her know that, you know what, I can date who I want. And mom, you do not have good choice in men. And one of her other sisters was like, my father could have been a rap star. It was funny. For Karen's love party, Mia and her husband Gordon are the first to arrive. Um, Karen hopes that Ray will let go eventually of his receding hair And hopefully he'll take a look at Gordon and see how Gordon has his bald head and make that his way to that direction as well. Who knew that Karen likes a bald head? And then next we have next Wendy and Eddie arrive. We also learn that Robin and Giselle are not coming. And Mia basically said, well, it's a couples thing, right? In reference to Giselle not coming. Ashley arrives without Michael and claims that Michael is watching Baby Dean. And Ashley looks like she's ready to pop. I'm surprised that Ashley even went. It looks it looked kind of painful for her to, sit down or get up out of the chair. Candace and Chris arrive, and Candace claims that she's still trying to heal from the wound of stab. All right. And I guess has a little bit of an anxiety of going to this love party. And Chris is trying to tell her, Candace is going to be all right. When she arrives at the door and, Karen comes to greet them. Well, first Ray answers the door and, everybody loves Ray. And Karen comes to greet them. And Karen brings up, she doesn't want to have a discussion tonight or today, or maybe they can meet up later in the week and, have a talk about their relationship. And Candace invites her to come over to her house and they can talk. So as the ladies were talking to Candace about, not Candace, sorry, they were talking to Ashley about having children or going through birthing children. And Mia says that she had all C-sections. And, Candace, everybody was kind of looking at her like, oh. And Ashley was just like, but why would you have worked on in your clit if you had, C-sections? And Mia is explaining that, because her and her husband really get it in. So Ashley's like, oh, so it's getting real beat up then. All right. So then Candace says to Karen, oh, I heard there was a little scuffle. And Karen is refusing to talk about it because she's trying to keep everything positive, wants to stay off of the topic of her and Giselle. Mia says to Karen, you're a real boss. And Wendy is calling out Mia for being fake because one moment she's having Giselle's back, saying that Giselle has a good heart. Next moment, she's bringing up Karen, saying that she's a real boss. And then in moments later, she was getting Giselle and who was it? Giselle and the other green-eyed bandit, Robin, phone numbers before they left Wendy's house that night. But I don't see any reason why for Mia not to get their numbers because they all have a group chat. So she would eventually have to get their numbers anyway. And Karen wants her to get to know all the ladies and form her own opinions and own relationships with these ladies. So Karen isn't holding her back from having a relationship with anybody. Now, and Mia mentions that. She says that Karen said that it's up to her to see who she meshes well with. And she claims that anytime you wish death on someone's husband, I have to reevaluate if you have good character. But of course, Wendy interjects, but you asked her for her number after you heard that information. I don't know why Wendy is coming so hard at Mia because Mia hasn't done anything to Wendy. And Mia basically says what she was trying to do at that point was lighten the mood, which is what Wendy should have done because it was her party. And she was just like, why do you all have a problem with it since Karen doesn't even have a problem with it? Which makes sense. Karen doesn't care. So why are you in your feelings. Now, Wendy then says, well, I'm talking. If you want to understand, then you'll listen. Excuse me, Wendy? Misha basically like, I'm done with her. I'm not talking to her anymore. And Wendy is just like, what you're not going to do is come for me. Wendy, she wasn't coming for you. You're basically always on the attack with Mia for some reason. And tells her that don't put your hand in my face. Mia's like, well, it's in your face. What are you going to do about it? They pan over to, the camera goes over to Candace's face and Ashley's face, and it's like, nah, this group does not do well with hands in faces, as we learned last year. But Wendy was just doing too much, really doing too much. To them playing a love game, basically to see which couple knows more about each other. And Ashley is the host because she obviously is not in a couple because she didn't bring Michael. Now, Wendy and Eddie actually win the game. Mia and her husband come in second. But throughout the questions, you can see Wendy is still being kind of shady towards Mia, and it seems like one of Eddie's questions, she thought it said Mia, and she had like an instant heart attack. It was just like, no, you better change it and write it correctly. With this game, we learned that Mia and Gordon actually met at a strip club, and all of the women are basically coming to their own conclusions that Mia was a stripper. However, Mia says that she was a bartender. She wasn't a stripper. No one believes that. Ray was funny when he actually chose the person that, out of the ladies, the person who would be your love interest. Ray chose Katie. I died when I saw his answer. It was so funny. And when he did that, Karen was just like, oh, Ray, I'm going to have to watch you in her confessionals. So that was basically it for this episode. I'm sure if I missed anything, y'all will tell me in the comments below. Please make sure you hit that like button on the way out, hit the subscribe button, and also tap that notification bell again so you can get the instant alerts when I drop a video. However, thanks for watching the video today. See you next time.